1 second.
Oh, okay. I'm hanging up the phone.
Okay, cool.
All
right. So we're apparently now live.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, so we're gonna have to pretend like it's working and just hope that it is.
Oh yeah, you know what? Forgot I could pull it up on the phone just to check and make sure.
Oh yeah. So if anybody is watching the recording, just because I know nobody's here just yet, but just bear with us. We're working the technology out, which seems like a really common excuse. You hear that every time somebody hops on or dealing with the technology here, but it's actually true.
It's the truth. All right. Yeah, I meant to. All right. Yeah, we're live.
All right. Okay, so
I can see that there is there's a delay. Just so, I don't know if that matters to you, but
it's there's probably no way around that.
Right.
Okay, so now after Shark Saturday deals, sounds like an exciting concept. Just break down real quick how you got inspired, and then we'll try and chop up some interesting stuff from the show on how we can use that as email writers.
So deals, I was just writing one day, and it was just something that came to me. Hey, good morning, Kwanda. I like how that just pops up right there.
Hey, Kay, do you ever sleep? That's serious. Like, anytime you do anything, you're like if you could have a supporter, you might be it, because you're always there every time we do anything.
We're gonna do something special for Kwanda.
Yeah.
She's like for 4 hours a night. That's it. Deals. I don't remember exactly how it came up, but hey, good afternoon, Tanya. She's in Chile. Let's see. Deals came up. I don't remember exactly. It was just in one of my writing sessions, brainstorming sessions, or whatever, and it was, I just said, okay, daily emails about life. But I tend to do that. I've been doing that for years, just making up acronyms out of stuff. And so it's just a part of my creative brain. And then Shark Tank, I actually hadn't watched the show in a while. But when you're thinking about daily emails about life or weekly emails about life, however often you send emails, that's one of the things that I like to do, is just pay attention to what's going on and just see what's the story in this and how does this tie into whatever I'm writing about, whether it's for a client or for myself.
Okay. And I know when we did our initial, our kickoff, when you were here in Chicago and we talked about coming up with ideas, that was one of the things that you mentioned, just paying attention to life. You can get a nonstop stream of ideas.
Yeah.
Write content about.
Actually, let me tell you, Tyron, I think it was Tyron, in the conversation we were talking about, and he said something about paying attention to what was trending, and that is something that I'm bad at, only because I don't pay attention to a lot of news and social media stuff on my own without somebody else telling me about it. And so, Shark Tank is something I used to watch like every week, but, I think that it's still popular.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let's, and I always get something from Shark Tank when I watch it. So I was like, let's start watching Shark Tank again and see what we can take from it.
I think it's a great touch point because as you said, I don't know. I haven't watched the show, and I watched one episode like a month ago because my wife was cooking, and the TV was on, and I changed the channel from some cartoon or whatever to a rerun, and that's the only reason I saw that episode. And prior to that, it's been probably over a year. I used to try to watch it fairly frequently, but I think it's still a popular show that our folk pay attention to. So it makes it for a good touch point for us to, I'm not great at knowing what's trending either, at least in pop culture. I try to stay up on news at least a little bit because I write about news stuff a lot.
Right.
But I don't know what's cool, what's hip. I don't know what's on TV. I don't know what happened on How to Get Away with Murder this week, if that show's even on. And so, but I think this one works. We can watch and touch base with a lot of our kind of people who are entrepreneurial minded and looking to move up. And then we have something to talk about that's relevant.
Right. Did you see what Tani said? Tani said she prefers the Prophet, and she thinks the Sharks can be mean. And last night, the Sharks were actually, I thought, unusually mean, and maybe that's their style now. I did remember when I was watching it before that you started to notice certain roles that they were playing, because they are actors on a show.
Right.
And I had The Prophet I've actually watched that more recently than I watched Shark Tank. So The Prophet is good too. I have to go back. And again, I watched it more recently than I watched Shark Tank, but I still haven't watched it in a while. So I have to go back and watch and tune into some CNBC. There's a couple other shows like that and we can check out as well too. And so maybe this will be after Shark Saturdays, in parentheses, The Prophet, and I forgot the other shows. Yeah. We let's see. We're 10 minutes in here. We can get into some things from last night. I know you missed actually you only missed the first one.
Yeah, I think it was the one segment, a commercial, and then I got into it and watched the rest of the show. Yeah.
Grease bags was the first one. And I know a lady who invented a bag, Queen Boss. Okay, we have to check that out. Queen Boss on Century. I don't know if I have Century.
Connie's show. That I'm not going to sit and talk about Queen Bosses. No disrespect to women entrepreneurs. I love y'all, but that's somebody else's area of expertise.
All right. So Grease Bags was the first product on Shark Tank, and it was a product lady had some material that it was in a bag. You pour grease into it, and it would soak up the grease. And I was the things that I got from that one. Basically, the Sharks were like they wouldn't use it, so they were out as investors, and so it's the same thing for the small business entrepreneur, which she was, looking for somebody to pay for your product. One is targeting. And they said it seemed like two conflicting target markets. So people the bags were biodegradable. So people who were interested in biodegradable bags, might not be frying food.
Right.
And so the Sharks they started trashing it. And so she did get a deal.
Really?
And I think Barbara has a soft spot for women. So Barbara gave her a deal. And I'm not saying it was just because she was a woman, but I personally don't think the deal is going to work only because the deal is contingent upon them being able to sell the bags for about half of what she was selling them before. And I forgot. I just said something about women too, I guess. And Barbara asked for 50% of the deal. And so sometimes we can make that mistake as small business entrepreneurs, is to do something for less than we want to do it for, in order to partner up with somebody. And sometimes you do need to do that, but sometimes, like in her case, I'm not sure that deal is going to work, only because she has to, basically cut her price in half, and she's giving up 50% of her company. So as far as writing, I have some other things from the other people specifically to take out from the writing, but there's some things in there that, do you, just from what I said, anything that you can think of as far as writing from that first scenario?
Well, when you said grease bag, I said, seems to me like positioning yourself badly from the start. It also made me think about some guys I knew in high school. So you can probably write in, if you saw the doggone show last night, Shark Tank, there's a thing called grease bags, and then you could talk about, you could talk about the guys from high school, but probably more likely talking about how a silly seeming product that you've seen before, and just make fun of it, do it, Ben Settle style or whatever. You could talk about grease bags and how it seemed goofy. Right. And then how would you tie that into your business? It depends on what your business is. I meant to think about that last night too. How do you transition from these ideas that we've pulled out into specific niches? But I didn't do it. I fell asleep. So, but you could use that as maybe what we talked about. Sorry,
I got a quick one, really quick. Sorry, just to get in there. Grease bags. If you're a fitness professional, health professional, or whatever, you could tie it in. You introduce the grease bags, and then you say, just like the sharks thought. Those of us who care about the biodegradable, features, we don't care about, we're mostly not frying food. And then your transition is, but what we are doing is blah, blah, blah. And you just tie in your product that way. So
I like it.
whether you care about health or whatever it is you care about, or for anybody, people who care about biodegradable bags don't care about frying food, just like people who care about writing better emails don't care about, jumping off buildings or whatever. You put something in there that,
That's pretty good.
So, some juxtaposed position.
The other thing is possibly like when you have there's a reason that Barbara needed to sell that for half off. Needed to cut the price point. What is it that happened? What is it in the positioning or in the value proposition of the product that makes it you can't sell it at the price that the entrepreneur wanted to sell it at? What made Barbara think it wouldn't work at a higher price point? How does that ruin, the deal? Like you said, we can't work together, and now you've gone on the show, gone through this, got your hopes up, and it falls apart. Thinking about those things, and I didn't catch that part. If you can see from what Barbara said, how this sort of thing hurts you, and then apply that to whatever you're talking about. And it could even be fitness too. What is the thing in fitness that keeps you a grease bag? There's something that doesn't quite work. The lifestyle and your desired outcome don't match up. So you're only you have to cut X, Y, or Z in half if you want to get the result you want, or something like that. Otherwise, the deal falls apart in your health or in your relationships. What do you have to cut half of out in your marriage for your wife to not hate you, all the time, or if she's always irritated with you because you need to cut your fingernails in public half as often or something? Not that anybody really does that. So anyway, you could just kind of spin off from there and take something like that, take an approach like that.
The next one was PinBlock, and I'm supposed to be. So I'm going on a date at 9:00, 9:00 my time. So I'm supposed to be out of here in like 10 minutes. We'll squeeze in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, we can move it along a little faster.
But yeah, so PinBlock was the next one. What'd you have from that? You saw it.
I didn't take notes until after the show. But the thing that got me was kind of the way that Kevin, Mr. Wonderful, the value of what Kevin brings to the table for this guy, and how he's like, you can't do this on your own. Whether or not that's true is subject to question, and that's how he positions himself, right? He's a tough guy. He likes to belittle people and talk about how they're bound to fail and whatever, or they're dead to him. But the truth is, if he says the toy companies will take my call, that's a connection that you might want to have. And when they say 50% of a watermelon is better than 100% of a grape, think about that. If Kevin can get you in with Tyco or Mattel or get you distribution in Toys R Us or whatever, it might be worth giving up a chunk.
I said the same thing last night. I don't know if I can show you my notes. Anyway, I got in my notes, 35% of 600 million is way more than 100% of 200,000. And I don't know if you heard.
A lot.
I don't know if you heard Barbara ask the same question you asked. She asked, "Can you do this alone?"
Yeah. And I think Kevin was talking over her, and Barbara is a nice guy, right? Daymond is usually a nice guy, and Barbara's a nice lady and supportive. I love Barbara. She may also have the lowest net worth of anybody on the show, so take that as you want. But anyway, just the value of relationships is connecting with somebody who has the audience that you want, or somebody connecting with somebody who has the resources that you need, or connecting with somebody who knows has the wisdom and knowledge and experience that you need, and the value of those things, and just the value of having deep knowledge, like Kevin has. I know the toy industry. I'm embedded in the toy industry, and I know how to make this thing work. And his confidence that I can make this thing into a big winner for you, and I don't know that you can do it by yourself. So if you could talk about Kevin and then transition into whatever you're talking about, the value of connections or the value of knowledge, deep knowledge, and how back into buying from you or working with you or listening to you, and how that would impact your audience's ability to attain their goals.
Also from the guy presenting, he had a strong why, and I think that's really why he took the deal, because the deal left him with 35% of the company, and so. But his why of his compelling reason of his dad dying and trying to gain back everything, obviously that's something you can tie in. That's why you'll give up 50% of your 85%, or excuse me, is more than 50%, but you'll give up 50% of a company that you only own 85% of, leaving you with 35% when you have a strong why. Are you the Mr. Wonderful of your industry? I like that, Tony. Confident, connected, confident and connected. And then I took the "Can you do this alone?" as well. So that's something you can tie in. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant. Yeah.
But nobody really can do everything alone. And most people who are on your list are on your list because they know they can't do that thing alone.
Right.
They may need to be reminded of it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. You got to remind them, just like in that Frank Kern sequence, at some point you should have been reminded that you can't do this alone. But the best kept secret, oh, that's a whole nother topic right there.
Don't get me started.
But the best kept secret. Let's if we don't have anything else from PinBlock, which I'm sure we could.
We could, but let's not.
Yeah. Mama's Milkbox.
Oh Lord.
Wait. So this was hilarious.
Go ahead.
Number one, she wouldn't be quiet.
I wrote the same thing. The need to shut up sometimes.
Right. She wouldn't listen. She had an answer for everything, except for what she needed to have an answer for. So when they asked
the one question.
Right. I took a quote from Lori. She said, passion is great, but it's only a fraction of running a business.
I got the same thing, which is not what the common advice out there is. Like, follow your passion and the money's going to chase you down. That's only a fraction of it. And you can take it from, I bet Barbara has more money than Lori, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, either one of them is swimming in money.
Right. So you find out Lori's net worth or how much she sold on QVC and in stores and all that stuff, and you say advice from the $600 million woman. Why passion is not.
Lori can make money on demand.
Right.
I got an idea. I got plugs at QVC. I don't know how you get into that rotation, but she can make money on demand. You need to listen to her. Right.
So actually that's really good to tie in there. You can tie that in an email as well. Again, for us, if you're building an email list, it allows you to be able to do that, to be able to make. Somebody else just talked about that, about making money on demand with your email list. People talk about that all the time. I had a quick one, a side note one. Go ahead. You look like you had a thought.
No, I was trying to remember if I read the same thing you read, because that sounds like, somebody was just talking about making money on demand. It could have been something from Andre Chaperone. It could have been something from Perry Marshall. It could have been something from Ben Settle.
Yeah, I was going to say, they probably all say it.
Yeah, on an often enough basis.
Yeah, but somebody can use that. Passion is great, but it's only a fraction of running a business. And of course, and that's a template. You can take that from, if you actually, Tani, since Tani's here, Tani, I forgot what Tani actually does. If you can share really quick what you actually do, and we can see if I can template that out for you. Because you can say blank is great, but it's only a fraction of blank, whatever you do. Some common thing that known in your industry. Because like you said, Donnie, you hear it all the time, follow your passion.
Yeah. There was a book out by Cal Newport a couple years ago, which kind of an entire book, 300 pages worth of saying that's ridiculous and one of the most dangerous pieces of business advice that's out there. Just follow your passion. Rather, you become passionate about something that you get really good at. And for those of us who've done it, you kind of know. Like, when I remember, becoming a copywriter, and it's a hard slog getting started. And the first time I got paid, I remember, this is ugly story. The first sales letter I wrote was like 8 pages, and I agreed to do it for $25. The guy paid me $30, and I said, "Man, you overpaid me." He said, "Yeah, I like to reward good work, but $30 is nothing." He overpaid me, but he really got a way better deal. And he used that copy. I checked up on him for a couple of years. He turned it into a video script, selling it like a $20 product. And not to mention, I also wrote his free bonus. Good morning. His free bonus also, I think, in the same price. So anyway, but when you get the first check that feels like real money, I can get passionate about this.
Right. The quote fits great with Tani's business. I mean, just how it is, passion is great, but it's only a fraction of running a business. And you add that you add that with Lori Grenier's name, because she helps women build and brand profitable businesses, and so that can be actually used for Tani as a proof element on a sales page. A quote from Lori Grenier. Now, obviously, it's not directly about Tani, but it is about what Tani does.
Proof of the concepts, yeah.
Yep. So, there's like I said, blank is great, but it's only a fraction of blank. So you can take that. I had a side note one that was from a commercial. I don't know if you saw the Outback commercial during. Y'all probably have like DVR or TiVo or something to fast forward through commercials. But Outback is doing some promotion, and they said something about like most New Year's resolutions, this deal won't last long. So that's definitely something that people can use in the coming weeks. For the next 2 weeks, that's definitely something to tie in there, and I'll probably tie that in somewhere.
I like it.
About these resolutions won't last long. So the next one was the NicePipes. Was that the last one?
That was the last one, yeah. There was the Daymond John segment, like in the feature in the middle. Get out of here. Where he talked about his background and brought his mom out there, which I wrote. I just took a note, not necessarily a lesson per se, but you could say, you saw how Daymond, told his backstory about his mom supporting him, mentoring him, and now how he's able to give back, take care of her. And then you could talk about your own mother or your connection, your relationship with your mother, how that helped you in the past. Or you could flip it around and you could say, I love my mother, but she wasn't able to provide this knowledge that I needed. She had, in my own example, my mother, I love her. She wasn't able to give me entrepreneurial, insights or even encouragement. She never had even thought about those things. And so, I needed to go find it elsewhere, which I didn't even know. I didn't know, based on the fact that, my mother stuck in, working a bottom rung job. She's, she just didn't have those tools. And you can come up with a good story about your own mother. It doesn't even have to be about that. Just if you feel like doing something personal, and talk about my mother. Daymond talked about his mother and how it feels good to now be able to, she said, I'll do it all over again for you. And he said, hopefully we don't have to do that.
Right. I saw that part.
And so it's like, but think of how it would feel to be, Daymond's a billionaire. Think about what that means, what you do for your mother. Mom, you mortgaged the house for me. You took 2 years off of work. I think it was 2 years just to keep me out of trouble as a teenager. And always. And
moved out the house.
Yeah.
And all his friends moved in.
What does it feel like for you to be able to now pay back all the sacrifice that your mother made, or whoever? If I say my wife, how all the great things that she's, sacrificed to support me, and now that I'm making a little bit of money, I try to shower with everything that she wants. It doesn't always happen. I haven't gotten her Jaguar yet, but I will, and that's what I want to do anyway. So that's, again, I guess that could be your why. I want to give my mama back what she invested to get me set up here, and Anyway, or we can talk about anything in that vein.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sacrifice is definitely something you can tie in to your emails, and I will stick with Tani since Tani's here with her example. I'm glad the last thing, actually, I don't know if you saw her. I don't know if you saw her comments, but the passion quote fits with her business because she said that's her style. Don't expect her to speak about following your passion. So that's a great lead in to her. Quote from the multimillionaire. And then
Nice.
Also, she could, again, also talk about sacrifice with her list. Who has sacrificed something for you, and what are you willing to sacrifice to build this dream? Goes back to disarm. We don't have time to get into disarm today.
That's a class worth having.
We can definitely get on that one day. I got a long post about that.
Good.
Nice Pipes. So that was the last one, the finale of the inaugural Shark Tank Saturday. Nice Pipes.
I've been doing all the talking. You can get into it.
All right. Nice Pipes. I took from there. What are you phenomenal at?
Yeah.
Tani, wow.
I would have never have guessed that, Tani.
Right, me either. I would have never guessed that. My why, I like that, Tani. Yep. Humongous difference. And I think somewhere in there, that was the guy from PinBlocks, his why. His why caused him to. So you tie in the story of your why. But Nice Pipes talked about what are you phenomenal at. That's something that that Tani could also talk about with her coaching clients. And I think it was Mr. Wonderful who said, "I'm so good at this that no one can touch me," which goes back to his confidence and his
I think that was Mark Cuban who said that.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, he's he's very confident at what he does too.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go through my notes really quick and tell you my takeaway, and then come back to talk about my takeaways. But I think Lori said you're an entrepreneur, not a CEO, or Mark said that. Somebody said that. And then one of my biggest takeaways, she needed to validate her $1 million valuation, like coming in there but she didn't know her numbers. That was a problem.
Right.
And somebody said you don't know exactly what you're going to be good at when you first start out. I think that was Lori. You need to figure it out. Herjavec says the best revenge is success. And her deal was contingent upon the Grace and Lace partnership, which I remember Grace and Lace. I watched that live. That was a few years back. And then Barbara said the decision she made proves that she's terrific. So are the decisions you're making prove that you're terrific?
I love it.
And she came in not knowing what she actually wanted. So that was a problem. Oh, no. She didn't get a deal. Yeah, she walked out without a deal. And I think it was because she came in not knowing what she wanted. And somehow it reminded me, I think Mr. Wonderful said it would have been Tani. Yes, Tani, you got a lot of content from this. She doesn't know her numbers because she's following her passion.
That's really right on the money.
I think Mr. Wonderful said it would have been irresponsible of Barbara to take that deal, and so it reminded me of my favorite Jeff Bezos quote, and I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it would be irresponsible of you not to be an Amazon Prime member, and so you can always tie that. I mean, you don't tie that specifically in, but somehow you convey that message that it would be irresponsible of you to not take this offer, to not take this course, to not join this membership, to not take this coaching, to not. I gotta remind myself of Tani. It would be irresponsible of you to just follow your passion and not go through this training that Lamar Tyler might be putting on. It would be irresponsible of me and my wife to try to build what we're trying to build and not go through the couples in business training with Lamar and Ronnie. Right?
Are you doing that?
So, what'd you say?
I said, are you doing that? The course?
I am.
The training?
Yeah. Yep. We're gonna do it.
You're talking. If you're doing an affiliate offer, you can say that. Oh, Lamar says, right. Yeah. Now you want to chime in. All right. Amen. No, but look, if you say it would be irresponsible for Jennifer and I not to do this, but your affiliate offer is to somebody else who that's true for also. So your story connects with their story.
Right.
If you're trying to build what I'm trying to build, and it's irresponsible for me, ... It's irresponsible for you also. Get that doggone training, go through it, do what you got to do, build that business, and give Lamar your money.
Right. Lamar, is there? I need an affiliate option on the couples in business training.
I'm saying.
And so Tony got another.
You gonna have that junk in your inbox this morning.
So Tani got another. She got another nugget from there, and not learn the fundamental. So it would be irresponsible of you to follow your passion and not learn the fundamentals of business. So
look, my son has like 300 Hot Wheels cars. He's passionate about cars. It would be irresponsible for me to put him under the hood of my wife's new Jaguar. It doesn't matter how passionate he is. He doesn't know the mechanical goings on under the hood. So you have to take your level of sophistication to a place where that makes sense. And so Tony's point is a good one. Passion isn't going to get it. It would be irresponsible for you to step out there without a certain level of competency. Now, step out there, obviously, but stay in your lane. You want to switch lanes, but you got to switch your skill level before you do that. Otherwise, you're being irresponsible.
Right, man. All these actually tie in really well together. Those that are just joining will have to go back and watch. We went through the grease bags, the PinBlock, Mama's Milkbox, NicePipes, and I just committed I just committed the sin of just explaining the features of what we did and not the benefits.
Well, look,
but
you got a date coming up. We're not going to be able to keep talking about this. I don't want to get in trouble with your lovely missus so I won't get into my notes. One thing that I took from NicePipes that I think is valuable. I think part of the reason that she ended up walking away from the Shark Tank without a deal is she didn't even think to change her number in terms of do you have to have 100,000? So it's the questions that you don't ask that kill you.
Ooh.
Would Barbara have given you 75,000 for the 25% equity that she offered? She didn't ask that. You said, how would I counter with 100? Why are you stuck on that number? And not thinking about being flexible to get what you want. Like you said, she didn't know what you wanted. And if she needs $100,000 to stay afloat, that's a business that Barbara doesn't want in anyway. So I think that's what I took. It's the questions that you don't ask that kill you. And you got
questions that you don't ask will kill you.
Yeah. And what Barbara said, and then I'll shut up. Barbara said when she started backtracking a little bit, the entrepreneur, Barbara said, don't you dare second guess yourself. And as an entrepreneur, you may not always be right, but you should never be in doubt. Make a decision, press forward, adjust as you go, but don't look backwards and don't second guess your choice, because then you sabotage everything that you're doing.
Ooh, nuggets. I'm gonna give you some. I'll give you some. Oh, you can't even see the video on Facebook, huh?
That's cool.
I'm gonna give you some hearts there.
Thank you.
Nice. No, that's good, man. Tani, you can definitely use this stuff, and we may I'm trying to think. Well, we'll discuss this later. Do we make this a? Do we make this a? Well, we'll talk about it. I think you know what the question I'm thinking.
I do. We're right here, 4 eyes to 4 eyes. Look, you get out of here. Go get on your date. Everybody who's watching and everybody who sees the recording, tell us what. And I'm just spinning off here. Tell us what you got out of Shark Tank, and then any ideas that may have sparked as you're watching, any ideas that sparked from the conversation of this video. And I'm going to be trying to pay attention to my family today. We might go to the swimming pool, but I will be in once in a while to try and help you out, build it out. I know Conrad, after the romance, will probably pop in and help you. We want to help you guys.
I got a husband-wife date this morning, and we got family date after that, and so I'll be tied up until the afternoon, but I'll be back in the afternoon/evening, West Coast time.
I'm looking for that too, afternoon or evening. But look, before I kick you out of here, I'll just hit the button and nuke this thing. But it would be irresponsible for y'all who are watching. If I go back, it would be irresponsible for you all to not take advantage of the opportunity to have this conversation. The group is fairly small now. I don't believe that will be the case for very long. And while there's just a handful of us who are actively engaged, asking questions, getting feedback, and offering ideas, now is the time when you can get the most intimate level of interaction from Conrad and I. When there's 1,000 people in here, it'll be less. When there's 10,000, I'm not going to, I don't think, be on Facebook all day just to talk to everybody. So right now, get what you can. If you value my opinion at all, which I think you should, but that's up to you. If you value Conrad's input, which to me is incredibly valuable, it'd be irresponsible for you to sacrifice that and say, "Oh, just to get into it later." Get into it now. Let's talk about this now. Let's press forward now. Don't second guess yourself, and don't second guess Conrad either.
Let me buy another three points really quick from earlier. Can you do this alone? Sorry, my sister just texted me and asked me for a Java chip frappuccino, and I have to tell her no. But yeah, that was one of the first points. Can you do this alone? Are you going to be able to come up with these ideas alone? If you can, should you be doing this alone? Or is there other things that you should be focused on? You should watch the replay of this and dig out the ideas that we already shared. Tani got some great ideas from here. Passion is great, but it's only a fraction. So writing is great, but it's only a fraction of writing emails.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
And like most New Year's resolutions, this video will be up here longer than most people's New Year's resolutions, but like most New Year's resolutions, your attention span of remembering to come watch this video won't last long. So True. You need to watch it now before you forget to watch it later. And so those are the 3 points, kind of some of the 3 things that we covered earlier. And 3 of the things that we covered earlier that you should watch in the replay. So
yeah, very good. I appreciate you, man. And
all right, man, appreciate you.
Hey, man, we got 45 minutes out of this. We need to learn how to talk faster. Have a great date with Jennifer. Tell her I said hi. And
yes, sir.
All y'all watching, thanks for joining us. I know it's early. If you danced all night last night, you might be tired. If you're in Chile, you may be tired. But, we appreciate you. And please, like I said, keep the conversation going. We're gonna be around later in the day to help you. Period. And that's what we're here to do. All right.
All right.
Let's get on out of here.
Talk to you soon, sir.
Later.
Peace.